You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. We got some breaking news. Your boy is still fighting this cold. It's kicking my butt pretty bad. I didn't know that we were going to have this today, so we are going to be going into this live very, very quickly because there is some breaking news going on. Yeah, I'd rather be in bed right now, sleeping, trying to get some of this cold out of my body, but hey, we are here to cover this. Okay, there's an impromptu press conference that's happening right now as we speak, revolving around the Epstein files. So we're going to get straight into it. Okay, so do me a favor, hit that like button down below, crush it, do it a do, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, please make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you're subscribed here on my main channel here. Please and thank you. Go and crush it over on my other channels like the Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Make sure you are subscribed to those channels. Hit the notification bell on all those platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Okay? All right? Okay. Also, hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys? But anyway, we're going to get straight into this because this is happening right now as we speak. Okay, but just a little recap. Okay, hold on. Just a tiny bit of recap, just so you guys know that there is going to be a vote today. Today, we're going to be covering this today as well. Yeah, there's no rest for the weary, so I'm not going to be able to rest. It is what it is, okay? But today's a very, very big day in the Epstein world. If you have been covering or following this, like I've been covering this, very closely, Trump finally said, "Oh yeah, let's just go ahead, guys, go ahead and vote to release the files." Okay, something sinister, something weird is going on there. I'm gonna be honest. I feel some type of way about that. But other than that, we're gonna talk about that later on. Okay, because I need to wake up a little bit. My body needs to wake up. Everything's still up here in my face. So we'll talk about this more in a little bit. But there is going to be a voting. Okay, they're going to be voting today. House representatives are going to be voting today whether or not the Epstein files are going to be released or not. My prediction is that they will vote to have them be released. We'll see what happens afterwards. We'll talk about that in a little bit, okay? But here's the thing. There is a press conference going on right now as we speak. They've already begun. We have the likes of Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene and a whole bunch of Epstein survivors holding a press conference. They've already started this press conference, and they're basically saying, we stand in unity. Y'all better go and vote to release these files. One thing that I think is very interesting that we do need to talk about, all right? I think it's very interesting that Trump would say, release the files, or like not release the file, but go ahead, vote to release the files, when he has the power, as he said in interviews, to just release the files. He has the power. He is president. He could just basically say right now, release the files. Why hasn't he done so? Why do we have to go through all of this red tape crap? If he could literally just go up and say, release the files. It doesn't make sense to me. But I digress. We're going to get into this conversation. We're going to get into this press conference. Also, let me make sure I put that in here too. I'm going to put this in here. I do have a GoFundMe still up and running right now. I still need a little bit, a few $100 more, like literally like $270 more than I thought. Okay. If you can contribute, please go and check out the link that is pinned at the top of the chat. It's also in the description box down below. If you can contribute, that'd be greatly appreciated. I'm just letting you know, okay? That I still have that GoFundMe up and running right now as we speak, because I just need a little bit under $300 left. I did a miscalculation. That's on my that's on me. That's my bad. But if you can support, that'd be greatly appreciated, okay? But without further ado, let's get into this press conference that's already in session. So we're a few minutes behind. All right. I needed to, I didn't know that they were going to do this impromptu press conference. As soon as I woke up, I found out about it. So we are here to hear what's going on. So we're a few minutes behind. All right. Just so you guys know. All right. But let's rock and roll, shall we?
Today is the first day of real reckoning for the Epstein class. We're here to stand with forgotten and abandoned Americans against an Epstein class, that had no regard for the rules or the laws. Look, this is one of the most horrific and disgusting corruption scandals in our country's history. You had Jeffrey Epstein, who literally set up an island of rape, a rape island. And you had rich and powerful men, some of the richest people in the world, who thought that they could hang out with bankers, buy off politicians, and abuse and rape America's girls with no consequence. Because survivors spoke up, because of their courage, the truth is finally going to come out. And when it comes out, this country is really going to have a moral reckoning. How did we allow this to happen? There should be no buildings named after people in this Epstein class. There should be no scholarships named after them. They shouldn't be enjoying the perks of being affiliated with corporations or universities or writing op-eds or being lionized. And many of the survivors will tell you some of these people still are celebrated in our society. That's disgusting. There needs to be accountability. I want to recognize first and foremost the survivors. They are the ones who made today possible. Many of you had forgotten about this issue, and frankly, for decades, we have not done enough about this issue. And it's only because of their advocacy, them coming here to the Capitol. They showed up here time and again, and on September 3rd, that the country started to pay attention. And I also want to thank the courage of two of my colleagues in particular. Both of them have suffered, as you know, extraordinary political consequences for what they did. One, my colleague, Congressman Thomas Massie. This would not have been possible if he hadn't led the discharge petition that got 218 signatures and is going to force a vote in the House of Representatives. And this would not have certainly been possible if it were not for the courage of Marjorie Taylor Greene. She signed the petition, and I would keep texting Thomas, is she going to drop off? Is she going to drop off? Because there was so much pressure against us, so much attacks against her. But she stood with the survivors. For Thomas or me, this has never been political. This is not about questions of Trump or Biden. This is a question of doing the right thing for survivors. We're going to get a vote today. I expect an overwhelming vote in the House of Representatives. And I don't want the DC swamp playing any games. They need to pass this in the Senate, and they should not amend it. President Trump has said he would sign the Epstein Transparency Act. It's going to get overwhelming support in the House. It should go straight to the Senate, and it should be signed. No amendments, no adding loopholes. Justice is long overdue.
Let me just say this really quick. All right. Like I just said earlier, I was gonna address this. I said I was gonna talk about it later because I was gonna wait. I was waiting for somebody to mention this, and I'm happy that he mentioned this right now. My concern is that he said, go ahead and pass it in the House. Now I know we all have our levels of theories here. Some people think that they've had enough time to scrub through all of thousands upon thousands of emails to scrub any Republican name out of the Epstein files, right? Like there's a massive cover-up going on. I think it gives them enough time to plant things, maybe not erase things because they need more time. They need a lot of time, but to actually plant things in the files. But outside of that, here's the other thing I think. He's literally sitting here saying, oh, go ahead and release, go ahead. House of Reps, go ahead. Vote for it to be released. Because of course he wants to look transparently look like he's for it now, okay? But also at the same time, just because the House votes for it to be released does not mean that it won't get passed through the Senate. Think about that for a second. That's the concern I have now. That it's not just going to be House is going to, they're going to vote. Everyone's going to go, yay, right? Everyone's going, yippee. Everyone's going to be super happy about that, right? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Senate votes to squash it. The same amount of pressure that the House is doing right now, or members of the House is doing right now, the Senate needs to do the same damn thing as well. I'm just letting you guys know. As much as he says, go ahead, vote for it to be released, it still has to get through the Senate. He's already thinking that in his head. If he wanted these things released, let me repeat that again. If he wanted these things released, these things would have been released already by now. All he has to do is say, release them. All he has to do is sign some piece of paper, I'm sure, to release the Epstein files. But it hasn't happened yet. Why? Because one, he could be having his minions going in there and planting and erasing information that makes Republicans look bad. But also at the same time, remember, once it gets past the representatives, it has to go to the Senate. And the Senate has to vote as well. So he probably has some senators in his back pocket, or a lot of them in his back pocket. You see what I'm saying? If he wanted to release the files, he could just literally say, release them right now. And that's not happening. He's letting it play out in here because I think he thinks that the last firewall, which will be the Senate, is going to squash the release of these files. Okay, I said my piece. I just wanted to let you guys know that. Okay? I just wanted to let you guys know that. Let me let this rock.
And I want to hand it over to my colleague, Representative Thomas Massey.
I want to start by thanking the survivors. I mean, they're giving everybody hope in this country. There are survivors of other sex crimes in this country wondering if they should come forward. They're clouded with shame and concerned that law enforcement will do nothing. And these survivors have stepped forth, taking that same risk, worried that they will be defamed themselves. They have been defamed for stepping forward, but we're going to get justice for them. That's going to happen today in the People's House. The founders set up our government with 3 branches and 2 branches of Congress. And I don't think it's any coincidence that this fight is being started and it's being won in the House of Representatives. I have people, other survivors of other sex crimes, who come to me and say, thank you. You give me hope. You give us hope. There is hope here. We fought the president, the attorney general, the FBI director, the Speaker of the House, and the vice president to get this win. But they're on our side today, though. So let's give them some credit as well. They are finally on the side of justice. And as Rose said, don't muck it up in the Senate. Don't get too cute. We're all paying attention. If you want to add some additional protections for these survivors, go for it. But if you do anything that prevents any disclosure, you are not for the people and you are not part of this effort. Do not muck it up in the Senate. So with that, I just want to say I am hopeful too. I didn't know that we would succeed when Roe and I started this effort. Most discharge petitions never make it, maybe only 4%. So we had long odds, but we had some brave, maybe only 4%. So we had long odds, but we had some brave women on the Republican side. My colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of them who's here with us today. You cannot even imagine the consequences that they have suffered. My colleague Lauren Boebert and my colleague Nancy Mace, they stood so strong. They put their names on a document in here, and then they were pressured in ways that you cannot even imagine. And they stood strong. And that's why we're here today. And they didn't take us seriously over at the executive branch or in the Senate, because they always thought they could flip one of these women. They could convince them or cajole them or intimidate them into taking their names off of this petition. But they did not succeed. This is a victory for those women and women all over the country today, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. With that, I want to introduce my colleague, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Ro. I woke up this morning and I turned to my weather app to check the temperature, and it was 32 degrees. And my first thought was, hell has froze over. I want to speak goodness and love and hope into the women standing behind me and all of the other survivors whose names you don't even know, but stand with these women. They are survivors, and they are strong, and they are courageous, and they are daughters of God. They are not victims. These women have fought the most horrific fight that no woman should have to fight, and they did it by banding together and never giving up. And that's what we did by fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States, in order to make this vote happen today. I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition. Let me tell you what a traitor is. A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves. A patriot is an American that serves the United States of America and Americans like the women standing behind me. And I want to tell you that this only became possible today because the American people whom we serve as representatives here in Congress demanded that this vote happen, and they put more pressure on every single elected politician in this city than has ever been put on them. And today you are going to see probably a unanimous vote in the House to release the Epstein files, but the real fight will happen after that. While I want to see every single name released so that these women don't have to live in fear and intimidation, which is something I've had a small taste of in just the past few days, just a small taste. They've been living it for years. But the real test will be, will the Department of Justice release the files? Or will it all remain tied up in investigations? Will the CIA release the files? Will a judge in New York release the information? That's information that needs to come out. And will the list of names that these women privately hold, and they hold it because of their fear in their heart of what would happen to them if they release it on their own, will that list of names come out? That's the real test. So I want to thank Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna for your bravery in doing something that is much needed in America, crossing the political aisle that has become bigger than the Grand Canyon in America. But these men crossed that aisle on behalf of these women. And that is more of what is needed today in America than ever in our history. So thank you so much. Who's next? Ro, I'll let you introduce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marjorie, Representative Green, for your courage and your words. Before I introduce our survivors, I just want to say that they will make their statements, and then you can ask questions of Representative Massey, myself, or Representative Green, but we do not want people asking questions and cross-examining the survivors. They're here to tell their stories, and they should be heard by the American people with respect. Of course, Congressman Massey, myself, and Congresswoman Green would be happy to answer questions after that. With that, let me introduce the survivor who's helped organize a lot of this, and will be telling her own story and introducing the other survivors. Haley Robson, thank you for your courage and leadership.
Absolutely, thank you. Oh, good morning. A little chilly coming from Florida, not used to it. I want everybody to take a look. I know everybody sees us today as grown adults, but we are fighting for the children that were abandoned and left behind in the reckoning. This is who you're fighting for. This is who Congress is fighting for. This is who the House of Representatives are fighting for, and hopefully the Senate will fight for us too. I want to kick this off right, and I want to address Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, and Rokana. I want to express my gratitude for all three of you, and I know, Rokana, we spoke earlier. This is an incredible thing that I'm watching as a Republican, and this is non-political, but for you to go against your own party and to be ostracized, there's no place for political violence, there's no place for intimidation, and I can say firsthand, stepping out against Epstein and his crimes against children, we have all experienced that ourselves. So for you to knowingly put yourselves at risk and put your career at risk is unbelievable to watch, and we are so grateful. I also want to make a proposition for Marjorie Taylor Greene, because you've been an advocate for this. If you decide to read those names on the House floor for immunity, I will be more than happy, no security needed. I will stand beside you. I will hold your hand. I will hold your coat in solidarity with you. And on top of that, I did talk to Jayapal, who said she would be more than happy to read those names too on the floor with all of us. It's time that we put the political agendas and party affiliations to the side. This is a human issue. This is about children. There is no place in society for exploitation, sexual crimes, or exploitation of women in society. There's no room for it, guys. We're not having it. And to the President of the United States of America, who is not here today, I want to send a clear message to you. While I do understand that your position has changed on the Epstein files, and I'm grateful that you have pledged to sign this bill, I can't help to be skeptical of what the agenda is. So with that being said, I want to relay this message to you. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. I am traumatized. I am not stupid. You have put us through so much stress, the lockdowns, the halt of these procedures that were supposed to have happened 50 days ago. The Adelita Grijalva, who waited to get sworn in and then get upset when your own party goes against you because what is being done is wrong. It's not right. For your own self-serving purposes, this is America. This is land of the free. Land of the free. In 1863, we have a woman on top of the Capitol building represent freedom. I do not feel free today. I don't know if the women behind me feel free today. So I am begging every member of Congress, every representative to step up and choose the chaos, choose the survivors, choose the children, protect the children, all children. You protect all of us equally. Thank you very much for your time. Following that, Lisa Phillips will be the next survivor.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Phillips. It's an honor to stand here again for something America is finally united on: the immediate release of the entire Epstein files. In a divided nation, this is one demand we all share. Last time I stood here, I made a promise to all survivors watching. If those in power refused to release the truth, we would start uncovering it ourselves. For anyone who doubted that, that moment has already arrived. Since that day, more survivors across the country and around the world have reached out: text, emails, DMs, firsthand accounts, and evidence. Many are women who were abused or trafficked through the international modeling pipeline Epstein built, promising visas, apartments, opportunities, futures, while exploiting their dreams for abuse. Most are still terrified to speak publicly because the men involved are powerful. They're connected, and as we know, they're protected. For too long, survivors have watched others speak for us. And while we are grateful for our allies in Congress on both sides, we've realized something. This fight belongs to us. We lived it, and we know the truth. And we will not wait quietly for institutions to decide when we're allowed to speak. The survivors now coming forward have entrusted us with their stories. We are sharing that information with the proper authorities, and when it can safely be made public, it will be. So today, we are launching something historic: the first national survivor-led political movement in America. Nonpartisan, laser-focused on exposing the systems, the loopholes, power structures, and silencing mechanisms that have protected predators for far too long. We are stepping directly into the halls of power, into the political arena. We will help rewrite laws that failed us and build protections for our nation's children together, targeted by sexual exploitation. Together, today, survivors begin our own fight, the survivor revolution. And we intend to change this nation for the better. If you're a survivor who wants to join us, please reach out. And to anyone who benefits from the current system, intentionally or not, remember this: alone, yes, we are afraid, but together, we are feared. Thank you.
Make sure you hit that like button down below. Send it all the way up. Let's get it past 500 likes,
I am
please.
Janalisa Jones, and just as Haley, I would just
And people
like to
be
give
nice
a
in the
little reminder
chat.
that this was me at 14 years old. I was a child. I was in 9th grade. I was hopeful for life and what the future had held for me. He stole a lot from me at 14. So just a little reminder there for everybody. Sorry. So
Messed up, y'all. You troll, stop trolling. Be nice in the chat, y'all.
I just want to start out by saying thank you for all of you for being here today. I want to start by expressing my deepest gratitude to the members of Congress who have stood with us, the survivors, in demanding the transparency and justice. Your support is a signal that this institution can still serve the American people. This issue was never one that should have divided us the way it has. In fact, it should have united us. Sexual abuse is not a Republican issue. It is not a Democratic issue. It is also not a hoax. We are here as American survivors of a man who used his wealth and power to hurt young girls and women. The world should see the files to know who Jeffrey Epstein was and how the system catered to him and failed us. Emotionally, this process has been distressing. First, the administration said it would release everything and applauded President Trump for that. Then it fought to release nothing. Now that checks and balances of our democracy have worked and the bill is getting passed to release the files, we are hearing the administration say they intend to investigate various Democrat Democrats who were friends with Epstein. I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. It is not about you, President Trump. You are our president. Please start acting like it. Show some class, show some real leadership, show that you actually care about the people other than yourself. I voted for you, but your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment. It is time to take the honest, moral ground and support the release of these files, not to weaponize pieces of the files against random political enemies that did nothing wrong, but to understand who Epstein's friends were, who covered for him, what financial institutions allowed his trafficking to continue, who knew what he was doing, but was too much of a coward to do anything about it. Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were able to recruit and abuse young girls and women. Then the country will learn nothing, and has horrible history will repeat itself if we do not do something about this. Thank you to the brave congressmen and women who have stood by us and recognized our side is the American side, and we should all be proud once again to be Americans. I want to just extend my thank you so much to all three of you very, very much. The first time we were here, listening to the, people yell shame at you, and when she was here in support of us, really hit home and spoke some volumes. And I just very much appreciative of your support, and we stand by you. Don't let any of them bully you. We're here for you. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming together today and taking the time to listen to us. Your presence means the world, and it shows commitment to understanding and supporting survivors and Americans. I stand before you today with a heavy heart. I originated from Brazil, and I came to the United States when I was 8 years old. I was only 14 when I first encountered Jeffrey Epstein, and my daughter is now almost at that age. At 14, the only things she should be concerned with are going to school, practicing at her cheerleading competitions, and enjoying her time with her friends and family. She should not have to bear the burden of worrying about being manipulated or exploited. At this age, she is still a child, and no child should ever have to face such threats. I also want to address a troubling statement made by a prominent figure on a major platform who suggested that a 14-year-old should not be considered a victim of pedophilia. This is a dangerous and incorrect notion. When we talk about how children at 14 should still be treated as children, I ask you to look at the young people around you. Remember when you were that age? Do you think you should have been responsible for being groomed? Put yourselves in our position when we were young. I'm here today not to just share my story, but to call on all of you to help make a difference. We need to support to push for the Transparency Act and release the Epstein files. Please reach out to your Congress members and senators and urge them to support this crucial legislation. The truth is something that we all deserve, and it is vital for safety and protection of the future of generations. Think about all the young people in your life, your daughters, your nieces, your friends. Let's stand together and ensure that they grow up in a world where they are safe and valued. I often wondered, why did this happen to me? And then I realized God only gives you what you can handle. I'm here for a purpose, and that purpose is to make a difference today. So let's stand together to protect our children and our peace. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to say a few things before I begin. My speech may not be great. It was thrown together last minute as I only came here, decided Friday, when one of us who has spoken several times decided she couldn't come because of the threats. She was too scared. So I want to say, when you threaten one of us, you're threatening all of us. Yep. We are together now, and that's never going to change. This is me At 16, when I met Jeffrey Epstein. Now I'll start. It is an honor to stand here before the American people. However, I shouldn't have to stand here at all. I'm here because as a child, I was pulled into Jeffrey Epstein's world, a world built on exploitation and manipulation of innocence and the protection of powerful men and women who believed that they were untouchable. Today, we'd rather be preparing for the holidays. We'd rather be at home with our families, baking with our children and decorating the Christmas tree as we try to move past this horrific moment that has impacted our entire adult lives. However, that's not possible because it's become something it should have never been, political and sensationalized. The truth is simple. We were victimized as children and failed repeatedly by the very system that was supposed to protect us. That's why we stand here today, to demand justice and accountability, not just for Epstein and his crimes, but for every predator and every enabler who participates in or protects abusers. The Epstein case was gravely mishandled consistently and deliberately over many years. Epstein could have been stopped decades ago, but instead he was able to continue his abuse, even during his sweetheart deal. Yes, with his ankle monitor on and beyond. A deal that protected him and silenced us. While I was a child fighting to survive what happened to us, federal prosecutors were negotiating ways to shield powerful adults. And the failures didn't stop there. Our civil cases were met with hostile judges and delay tactics, intimidation, and PR campaigns designed to smear us in the public eye. We were treated as problems to be managed instead of victims to be protected. Today, something has changed. Individually, our voices were whispers. Together, they've become impossible to ignore. We are encouraged to see elected officials from both parties, thank you, come together and finally take action to release the files. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Good job.
Yes.
This is all just so crazy.
Good morning. My name is Wendy, and I'm standing here today with a truth that still scares me to say out loud. I'm going to put this down because I can't hold both, as you guys saw, but that was me when I was 14 when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
Listen to the
None
ages,
of us
guys.
here
That's
signed up for
insane.
this political warfare. We never asked to be dragged into battles between people who never protected us in the first place. We are exhausted from surviving the trauma and then surviving the politics that swirl around it. When survivors travel to speak, to advocate, to stand for the truth, we do it with our own money, from our own pockets, carrying our own fear, shaking in our own bodies. There is no team, there is no paycheck. It's just us hoping our voices make a difference. And it puts a pit right in your stomach because you know you're standing on the right side of history. Yes. But standing on the right side of history is not a comfortable place to be. Yep. It never has been. And in a sick, heartbreaking way, it's an honor to show up, an honor to speak here, and an honor to stand in light when the world tried to keep us in the dark. And what keeps me standing is, even with all this fear, I have a 14-year-old daughter myself, the same age I was. And when I look at her, I see the little girl I used to be, the one that no one protected. My greatest fear in this entire world is history repeating itself. And I will do anything, absolutely anything, to make sure that she has to never be one of these girls standing in front of a crowd like this today in her life. So today, from the safest and bravest places inside myself, I am asking Congress, please pass the bill. Please release the records. Stop making survivors fight alone for the truth that should have protected us in the first place. To the representatives that support us, thank you. Thank you for standing beside survivors so we don't have to face this fear alone. Thank you for choosing what is right over what is easy. And every survivor who is scared right now, your fear is real. Your courage is real, and even though we're terrified, we keep showing up because someone has to tell the truth. Someone has to protect these children. We deserve safety then, we deserve it now, and we are done being afraid so others can stay comfortable. So, with that, I want to say thank you guys for having us. And I just hope that people can remember that as survivors, our story never leaves us, but the choice that you make to pass this bill, your career is in front of you, and that choice will follow you. Everybody will know. So, thank you.
Yeah. Shout out to Popcorn Planet for being in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Hello, everybody. My name is Danny Bensky. This was me at 17 years old.
Hold on, I gotta pause this really quick. I just need to address a few things. First off, thank you guys so much for being here and rocking with me today. Okay, even with my sickness and everything. But here's the thing: some of y'all are asking, is this a repeat? Is this is this from last time? No, it's not. We got new faces, new voices speaking out, having enough guts, okay, enough cojones to step forward, get on the mic, and say what they need to say. For those of y'all who want to go out here and troll, please go somewhere else, okay? This is not the place for you, all right? This is a place to hear these victims, to hear these survivors. And like I said, we owe them the respect, all right? Some of these people, some of these women, a lot of these women, by the way, are having a lot of balls to get forward, come forward, a lot of guts to come forward, even after getting all kinds of threats. One of them you just heard said that one of their other women that was going to step forward and speak out is too scared to speak out. You got to understand, this is a lot bigger. All right? This is a big deal. You got the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene getting threats as well. All right? Period. And I agree, man. I agree, Popcorn. Or Andy. Sorry. What's up, Andy? Okay, I agree. Okay? I'm sick of people saying name the people. Okay? Exactly. Where is the same energy when telling Trump to release the doggone files? Because he has that power. He has even said it himself. I could do whatever I want. I could do whatever. I could do it anytime I want. I got the power. So then go and do it, man. Release the files. The only reason why, this is my only theory, and I'm going to let this rock. First off, one, be respectful in the chat. These women are having a lot of guts to step forward. Yeah, for the women, yes, the ovaries, okay? They're reaching down into their ovarian region, okay, to muster enough courage to step out and speak out right now with all the threats that are going on. You got the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene even dodging threats as well. Whether you believe her or not, I believe that, okay? And that's like the fourth time I've actually believed her in something in the past, 3 months. But still, nonetheless, all of these women have enough courage to step forward. We owe them that much respect, okay? The trolling is ridiculous. Now, mods, I'm not trying to tell you to wipe every single troll off the planet. No, like this, you know what I mean? Keep your energy towards this, all right? But we owe them that much respect. Hear them, hear what they got to say, because a lot of these women, all of them went through some very serious, crazy stuff. And you've been hearing over and over again, all of them saying, I was 14 when I met. I was 14 when I met. I was 14 when I met. That is insane. And that's thousands of women. We don't even have, this is not even half of the survivors. You got to realize that, guys. This is right here. This ain't even half of the women, of the survivors that were in the clutches of Swamp Thing. Real talk. So, let me continue. But the childish trollery needs to stop. We need respect. Imagine if this was your daughter. I mean, come on, y'all. Period. Full stop. Okay? You'd want justice too. And you'd want to be able to have them have their time on the podium if they were a survivor to speak out without judgment. So, without further ado, we're going to continue without interruption.
Coming from the dance world, I was recruited in 2004 after a systematic breaking down where Epstein leveraged my mother's brain tumor scans. He threatened me to withhold care for her. He trapped me in a year-long cycle of abuse. The last time I was here in Washington, D.C., I talked about being a part of this beautiful mosaic of women behind me, and they are exactly that. They are a beautiful mosaic of energy and passion and love and life. I am one story of 1,000. You think of that number, 1,000. I spoke of how big our hopes and dreams once were, and I talked about how they were completely shattered at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. Now I look at this amazing community behind me. They are survivor sisters. We are together. We stand together in this. And I realize that we are a representation of women across America. We come from different backgrounds. We have different religions. We are different races, different creeds, different ethnicities. We have different political affiliations. Some of us don't want to be political at all. And yet we stand here together for this cause. We're united in the call for transparency, complete transparency, to find justice. Justice for our younger selves. These pictures that you see, they're real people. I wish I could go back and give my former self a hug and say, this matters and it's going to change, and mean it. We are standing here for justice for the youth of tomorrow, and justice for those who are no longer with us, like the beautiful, brave Virginia Giuffre. We understand that the road is long, but I implore you to stay the course, please. Living in an age where you can get news in 10-second clips on your phone, I know that this is a big task for us, but it's a very personal one for survivors. It's a very personal one for us as a country. So I'd like to ask you to try something right now. I'd like everybody to close their eyes or soften their gaze just for a moment. And I want everybody to think of a child that is close to them between the ages of 14 and 18 years old. It could be your daughter, it could be your niece, it could be a friend's kids, it could be you at a former age, it could be your mother at that age. But really envision that for a second, 14 to 18 years old. Once you think of that person, I want you to think about what they feel like. What is their energy? What do they smell like? What sound do they make when they laugh? Really think about that child just for a moment. Now I want you to picture a pair of giant looming wooden doors and an overbearing marble landing. Those are the doors to Jeffrey Epstein's house. Do you allow that child to enter or not? If the answer is yes, you would allow entrance. You stand with predators. If the answer is no, then congratulations, you're on the right side of justice. Now you have homework. I am calling for the American people. You have homework. Call your congressional leaders. Call your senators. Please support this bill. Let's get it all released. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Annie Farmer, and this is a photo of me and my sister Maria Farmer. Around the time I was 16 and she was 25. That's how old we were when we were abused by Epstein and Maxwell. Survivors have repeatedly stated that our pursuit of transparency and justice is a nonpartisan issue. But given the political noise surrounding this case, I just want to remind people of some of the facts. In 1996, when my sister Maria bravely blew the whistle on this group by reporting to the FBI what Epstein and Maxwell did to both of us, they hung up on the phone on her, and there was no follow-up of any kind. Bill Clinton was president. In 2006, the FBI came to us, finally interviewed us, and asked us both to be witnesses against Epstein. We were very anxious, but we agreed. And then we didn't hear back from them due to their infamous sweetheart deal. George W. Bush was president. In 2015, when the DOJ was sent FOIA requests for Maria's FBI files, and they were denied, as they have been many times, Barack Obama was president. In 2019, when Epstein died in prison due to either negligence or foul play, Donald Trump was president. In 2023, Maria's attorneys sent a letter on her behalf to the government requesting an investigation into the repeated law enforcement failures in this case, similar to what was done in the case of Larry Nassar. They declined to do so. Consequently, my sister filed notice that she would be suing the government for failing to uphold its legal, ethical, and moral duties in this case. Joe Biden was president. This year, after campaigning on a pledge to finally release the files, under Trump's second presidency, the DOJ announced they were closing the investigation into Epstein's co-conspirators, and then transferred Ghislaine Maxwell into a prison camp where it is well documented that she is receiving special treatment. This is not an issue of a few corrupt Democrats or a few corrupt Republicans. This is a case of institutional betrayal. Because these crimes were not properly investigated, so many more girls and women were harmed. My sister, because of her bravery, was repeatedly threatened and lived in fear with dire consequences for her health and her career. 30 years later, even as oceans of allegations and obvious truths have emerged, the government has still not chosen transparency. This is why we have all come together as one united voice to demand the release of all the Epstein files and to finally bring the truth out of the shadows.
Yes.
Has anybody read the book, Virginia Giuffre's book? Is it any good? Let me know.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of Congress, and everyone gathered here today, I want to start by thanking the three of you. Thank you. It takes a lot of bravery to do what you're doing. We hear you. We see you. It means a lot for you to be here with us, and I know my sister will be incredibly proud. This is the moment she was fighting for and the moment that all survivors are fighting for, so thank you. My name is Sky Roberts, and I stand before you as the brother of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, a warrior, a mother, and a sister whose legacy will forever resonate in the hearts of those who understand the fight against injustice. Today, we find ourselves in a place of deep sorrow, shattered by the loss of our beloved sister. Yet, we are honored and privileged to carry her voice forward and continue her relentless fight alongside her fellow survivor sisters. Virginia's story is one that should have been filled with promise, but instead it became a harrowing tale of exploitation and survival. At just 16 years old, she took a job at Mar-a-Lago, believing she had secured a dream summer position. But that dream quickly morphed into a nightmare when Ghislaine Maxwell preyed upon her innocence. This isn't just the story of one girl. It's a story about the insidious nature of power and abuse, a dark chapter in our society that must be told. Virginia was no stranger to trauma. In her memoir, Nobody's Girl, she shares the painful truth that she had already suffered abuse at the hands of our father and a family friend. But what happened next was unfathomable. Epstein and Maxwell didn't just abuse her, they trafficked her to a network of the rich and powerful. Princes, prime ministers, politicians, financiers, and lawyers. These men committed unspeakable acts against her will, and against the will of countless survivors who stand united with us today. Virginia's strength was tested in many ways that most of us can hardly imagine. She was manipulated, coerced, and threatened. forced into complicity in her own devastation. She often spoke of psychological scars that ran deeper than the physical ones. From the start, she wrote, "They manipulated me into participating in behaviors that ate away at me, eroding my ability to comprehend reality and preventing me from defending myself. The most destructive wound they inflicted was that of forced complicity, a betrayal of self that was crafted by her abusers. But I stand here today to declare that their tactics of fear and intimidation did not work. Virginia's spirit could not be broken. She became a beacon of hope, a warrior, fighting not just for herself, but for every survivor who suffered in silence. She said, I felt it was my duty to stand up to predators like Epstein and Maxwell. I would put my neck on the line to make sure my daughter never has to go through what I had to endure. These survivors like Virginia have transformed into mothers and strong women, fierce in the face of adversity. Many of them have daughters the same age they were when they faced their own abuse. They are determined to break the cycle, to shatter the silence that has kept so many in the shadows. Virginia quoted in her memoir, "There I was, as the mother of 3 children. I felt it was my duty to stand up to predators like Epstein and Maxwell. I mentioned to Ellie in particular, her daughter, I would put my neck on the line to make sure she never has to go through what I had to go through. I said, joining Edward's CVRA case, what I would want somebody to do for my daughter or sister and friend. In the end, I said, I was just trying to do the right thing. That's what I felt like I'm doing," I said. "I'm making a small dent in this big world we live in." Well, Sissy, you didn't just make a small dent.
Trey, she passed away.
You made a monumental impact, a resounding statement that echoed across the world. You built an unbreakable wall, a barrier that will protect future generations from the horrors of abuse. As we gather here today, I urge each of you, members of Congress, advocates, and all those who hear this message to join us in this fight. We demand justice, accountability, and support for survivors. And we keep getting asked this, what does justice mean, you ask? It starts with acknowledgement. That's the first step. Acknowledge in the face of survivors that this happened and that this is true. Your vote carries that weight. My sister is not a political tool for you to use. These survivors are not political tools for you to use. These are real stories, real trauma, and it's time for you to stop just talking about it and act. Vote yes. Virginia's legacy is not just hers. It belongs to all of us who stand against injustice. Together, we will ensure that the voices of survivors are heard, that the truth prevails, and that the horrors of the past are never repeated. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for standing with us. Together, we will not let Virginia's fight be in vain. Together, we will not let the predators win. Together, we will be the change this world desperately needs. Thank you. It was so beautiful.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein in 1991. I always share the date when I talk about my story because people rarely acknowledge how long this has actually been going on. And for too long, truth has been buried, survivors have been silenced, and powerful people have been protected. And today we stand in a moment that will decide whether our government still belongs to the American people or to those who prey on them. Because when mountains of evidence and decades of victim reports across 5 administrations still lead to sweetheart deals or no prosecution at all, this isn't just one case gone wrong. It's an institutional failure on a historic scale, and every member of Congress and this administration must answer for that failure. Millions of sexual abuse survivors know the pain of speaking up and watching the institutions that are meant to protect them look away. We're not alone in this. Epstein may be the headline, but the betrayal reaches every corner of our country. And if our justice system can collapse this completely for so long, then Congress cannot pretend that the system is working. Not for us, and not for the generations that will live with the consequences of what they choose now. One long overdue step towards repairing this damage is the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Because without transparency, there's no accountability. Without accountability, there is no justice. And without justice, democracy dies.
Yeah.
So representatives, you have a choice to show millions of Americans whether you stand with us or with the powerful predators that are counting on your complicity. Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Good morning. This is me. This was me. My name is Charlene Rochard, and I stand before you today not as a victim of rumor or conspiracy, but as a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse. Far too long, survivors like me have been dismissed, silenced, or told that our pain was exaggerated or fabricated. Let me be clear. This is not a hoax.
Yes, it's not.
What we endured was real, and it has scarred lives across 5 presidential administrations. The truth has been buried in sealed files and hidden records for far too long. The Epstein Files Transparency Act is not just about survivors. It's about America itself. How can we keep America great if the principles the nation was founded on, that power belongs to the people, is not protected? No one, no matter how wealthy and well-connected, stands above the law. If we cannot face the truth, then we betray the very ideals that defines us as a country. By passing this act, Congress has the chance to prove that truth matters more than privilege, that justice matters more than influence, and that America has the courage to confront even the most uncomfortable realities. This is not just about survivors. It's about every American who believes in accountability, fairness, and the promise of justice. I stand here today not only for myself, but for every survivor of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse who has carried this burden in silence, and for every citizen who believes that justice delayed is justice denied.
Yeah.
I want to thank Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey for standing with us. Thank you. And I especially want to thank Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Her unwavering support, her courage to stand with us and demand transparency gives us strength. It shows that this fight for accountability is bigger than politics. It's about humanity, justice, and truth. This is about America's future. It's about whether we, the people, will be heard when we have the courage to stand for truth and justice. Our voices are real. Our pain is real. And our demand for justice will not be silenced. Thank you.
Amen. Girl, Charlene. Hello. Good for you, girl. You did amazing.
My name is Laura Bloom McGee. This is my first time speaking publicly about my abuse. As a young woman in New York City, I was pursuing a modeling career and building a life of giving back through my philanthropic work. Instead, I was intentionally groomed and became part of an international model sex trafficking ring that was led by Jeffrey Epstein. I was sexually and mentally abused by Jeffrey Epstein. He used my dreams and vulnerabilities to silence me. Today, I am here to break that silence. Sex trafficking and sexual abuse are crimes against human beings, not political talking points. For too long, Epstein's abuse was an open secret, with his network remained protected. Evil thrives in darkness. We must shine a light on every corner where it hides. Nothing should be off limits in the search for truth. Please vote that everything in the files be released. Let investigations proceed without obstruction. Demand oversight and deliver justice. The government must never side with predators. I come as one survivor, but I stand here for everyone who prayed for me, who believed in me, and who hoped for me. To my fellow survivors, your courage brought me here. We are more than victims. We are mothers, daughters, sisters, friends. This is not a hoax, and we will not be erased. Shame on any elected official who obstructs truth and justice for the American people. Thank you.
Amen, Laura. Yeah, girl.
My name is Liz Stein. In 1994, I was a senior in college, just 21 years old. I had aspirations of attending law school after graduation, and it looked like I had a bright future ahead of me. 1994 was also the year I met Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. My involvement with them changed the trajectory of my entire life. The Epstein files are not about loyalty to any one political party. They're evidence of a crime. We stand here today, victims of the crime of sex trafficking. I'm here today speaking both for my 21-year-old self and for the countless number of people who have experienced sexual violence. When I am asked what I would tell my younger self if I could say something, I say that I would tell myself to tell someone. And if they don't listen, to tell someone else. And to just keep telling until someone listens. And even if nobody listens to you, you should be proud of yourself because you stood in your uncomfortable truth when others could not. And that is true bravery. We stand here today as survivors, part of a sorority that none of us asked to join. We have told our stories over and over and over. Now it's time to see who was listening. We ask that you vote to release the files, all of them, so the victims of this crime can finally see justice. Thank you.
Amen. Yes. You go, girl.
Well, hello, everyone, and I want to first say thank you for your ongoing leadership. I know it must not be easy thing to do, much like it's not easy for us to be doing this. So I guess we're in this together. So thank you so much. I feel like our courage has, we're reflecting, mirroring courage, because that's what it takes to do this, right? So this was me at 22 years old. I was not a child, technically, very young adult. I imagine most of you here can relate to the mindset and to be 22 years old. So today is a good day, and I thank God for that. It's widely and undeniably clear that our current political climate is quite rigid and seemingly at war with one another. This sets a stage. This sets a stage for voices, survivor voices, to get spoken over and drowned out by the political darts whizzing by. Not today, though. Today, our truth and our power have steadily risen up. We're at the peak. Our voices prevail today. Our voices initiated the coming together of both political parties. That's pretty big, I think. Republicans and Democrats, we all stand together today. We all stand together for justice, and we must continue to do so to protect the integrity of our country and our democracy. Truth and justice must prevail. The children today are those that will lead this nation one day. Think about that. What does that mean to each of you? If anyone doubts that this does not directly contribute to the fate of our country and democracy, I challenge you and I urge you to think again. Our voices are a fundamental pillar of future generations. Today, that's what we stand here for. Accountability, action, and justice. Let's get this vote done today. Let's send it through the Senate and straight to President Trump's desk for signing. I'd like to be there that day that he signs. I'm sure all of us would like to be there. Today is a good day, and let's keep moving forward. Thank you so much.
I'm going to give you a hug.
Okay.
Hey guys, we're actually pressed for time, so we are not going to be taking questions going further. I bring back Rokana. He's going to do our closing conversation and comments.
Well, thank you, Hilly.
Dang.
Teresa is right. It's pretty big what the survivors have accomplished today. And I just want to say how eloquent, strong, and admirable they were. Let's give them a round of applause for their courage. Thomas and Marjorie and I will take a few questions from people. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's been a red herring all along. The survivors have always been in favor of this legislation, and there's a provision in there you can read if he would just read it that protects them. Now, if he wants to offer more protections in the Senate, that's fine with us. But here's the problem: now we have to vote on it again in the House, and so as you heard, justice delayed is justice denied. It could be just another delay tactic, but we want to.
Is that what you think? That's the motivation?
I think the speaker wants to save face. He's going to vote for a piece of legislation today that he's disparaged for 4 months. And if, however, he needs to come on board, we want him on board. So we appreciate that.
Did you want to? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, you know, there's becoming a reckoning in Britain that needs to happen in the United States. A prince lost his title. The ambassador to the United States lost his job. We need to see those same kind of consequences here. As my colleague Rose said, there shouldn't be buildings named after these perpetrators of these heinous crimes. There shouldn't be scholarships named after them.
Agreed.
And there needs to be accounting. We've seen tens of thousands of pages released by the Oversight Committee. What we've not seen is a single name. So I implore you to look and see if we have true justice and transparency in here. And the survivors will know when that has happened.
And I do think that Prince Andrew does need to come and testify at our Oversight Committee, and that can be bipartisan. But I share Thomas's view that the urgency that the British people have shown in getting justice needs to inspire an urgency here in America. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You don't need legislation to get the files released. President Trump could just release them today.
Well,
Is that frustrating for you? Why isn't he doing that? And also, did you ask him to be here today? It's a really powerful.
Good question.
Look, I'll let my colleagues speak. I hope the president meets the survivors, and I hope when he signs the bill, the survivors are there. I don't care if I'm there, Masses or Representative Green's there, but the survivors should be there. But I hope he meets them, because I think if anyone who meets them and sees their emotion will be moved. And my goal is to get justice here. So I hope he will meet them and really hear what's happened and actually take action. But the broader point is, yes, the president could order the Justice Department to release the files. But in a constitutional democracy, what we're supposed to have is Congress says that the files should be released, and then it's not on the whim of any president. Then the Justice Department is compelled to release those files because that's the law of the land.
Let's just take a, yeah. So Senator Merkley is a Democrat. He's led the exact same legislation that Roe and I introduced in the House. One Republican co-sponsored his bill yesterday, and I have spoken to at least one more who says they will co-sponsor. The important thing about the Senate is that they need not to muck this bill up. There's a lot of attention on here. We've needlessly spent 4 months dragging this out. A representative, a duly elected representative, was denied her seat in Congress for 49 days, and it's time to pull the Band-Aid off. The Senate, it may be tempting for them to get cute and to do things that will limit the release of these documents. They are afraid that people will be embarrassed. Well, that's the whole point here. They need to be brought to justice, and embarrassment is no reason to stop it. So the Senate, John Thune, it's up to him. He needs to bring this to the floor of the Senate. And I think the vote today will show that in the House.
And the president, look, the president has said he would sign the bill. You're going to get almost a unanimous vote here. So you have the president and a unanimous Congress believing that this protects the survivors and is calling for the release. There's no reason for the Senate now to, as Representative Massey puts it, muck around with it. They need to put it up, have a vote, have the president sign it. If there's any further protections, they can do that through the DOJ process. But what they should not do is delay a vote on a bill that the House is going to vote overwhelmingly for and that the president supports.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Congresswoman Green, you raised the question of whether or not the Justice Department will actually release these files. Do you take the president at his word when he says he's going to sign this bill, and do you have confidence that these files will actually be released?
I only take people's actions seriously, no longer words.
And what do you think the president's
And I'll tell you, because I wasn't a Johnny come lately to the MAGA train. I was day one 2015, and there's a big difference in those Americans and those that decided to support President Trump later on. And I'll tell you right now, this has been one of the most destructive things to MAGA is watching the man that we supported early on, 3 elections, for people that stood hours, slept in their cars to go to rallies, have fought for truth and transparency and to hold what we consider a corrupt government accountable. Watching this actually turn into a fight has ripped MAGA apart. And the only
Civil
thing
war.
that will speak to the powerful, courageous women behind me is when action is actually taken to release these files, and the American people won't tolerate any other bullshit. That's where we are today. Thank you.
Go ahead. Last, 2 more questions, and then we're around all day. I would say that these survivors have been fighting for decades, and they finally are being heard by the American people, and we're finally going to have a reckoning for this Epstein class that has gotten away with horrific things. Look, I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. People went to church, they played Little League, they went to their neighbors for barbecue. They didn't go to a rape island and abuse young girls or traffic young girls. And people with extreme wealth have thought that the laws don't apply to them, and their culture is totally out of touch with the values that built America. And finally, we're going to have a reckoning over it.
How worried are you? Let's take the lady here.
Let me ask you this. You said you wanted this to go straight to the Senate. What message does it send to the survivors behind you if the Senate doesn't act quickly to move this bill forward?
Well, they're not here. They're not going to answer questions, so I'll answer a question. I prefer, actually, it goes straight to the president. He can release these files without the Senate acting. Sometimes they take a long time to get things done. The House figured out a way to take 4 months to get this done. I think it's disrespectful to the survivors if they delay this. There's nothing more important than cleaning out the rot in this country. And this is rot, and it's not a partisan issue. And the senators need to get on this. Yes, the economy is important. Yes, international policy is important, but there's nothing more important than getting to this rot and cleaning it out. They should put it at the top of their agenda.
There's a provision in the bill already that would allow the DOJ to not release certain information that would jeopardize an active investigation. And the president just last week ordered his DOJ to conduct an investigation. What makes you think you would actually, if this bill passes, see these files?
There are 1,000 survivors. They can't open enough investigations to cover up everything that's in these files. And yes, it's true they can try to protect a few certain people or a few certain companies, but those investigations will eventually end. And in the meantime, there's not enough investigations to cover up 1,000 different crimes, 1,000 different rapes, 1,000 different sex trafficking instances. And this is not a moot point, even though they are doing that.
And once this bill is signed into law, any career official at the DOJ or the FBI who does not comply with the law is at legal risk. It's no longer just up to the president.
Look, we could have passed a simple resolution here in the House, and that would have been the end of it. Instead, we chose a very hard path, which is to get legislation, a law passed, which means it has to go to the House, the Senate, and be presented to the president. And that will have the force of law. They will be breaking the law if they do not release these files.
Thank you very much. Last question, and then.
Why do you think he has fought so hard? If he can do it now, why hasn't he done it?
I believe he's trying to protect friends and donors. And by the way, these aren't necessarily Republicans. Once you get to $1 billion, you transcend parties. You just assume you can pay off whatever party is in charge of the White House, whatever party is in charge of the House of Representatives. And this is about those kinds of people. I think he's been trying to protect them. And I think it also incriminates our own government. This is a complete and total failure of the justice system, as the survivors have witnessed here today to us. It incriminates the FBI. It incriminates our intelligence agencies. It incriminates police departments in West Palm Beach. And that's what has been protected by this. Either willfully or unknowingly, and it's time to end it.
And I would agree with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene that what matters now is just the action. I don't speculate on what politicians' motives are or what's in their heart. The point is, the American people have spoken, Congress has spoken, release the files. It's time for justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So that was a very good press conference, especially right now when we're in the next couple of hours. There's going to be a voting process happening in the House, whether or not they're going to pass a bill to actually get the Epstein files to be released. But here's the thing, okay? And I think this was a very, very powerful press conference, very important, especially on a day like this. I know somebody said this in the chat, saying that this is a dark day. It's been a dark couple years if you really think about it. It's been a dark couple days. Let me just make that abundantly clear. It has been a dark couple of years. It's been a dark several years if you really think about it. Some of these women are grown women now, okay? Have families of their own and all that. And they had things happening to them when they were littles, all right? Several years, decades. It's been a dark couple of decades if you really think about it. Somebody said as early as 1991, she was a victim. Think about that for a second. 1991, decades, y'all, decades. And now they're finally getting, well, here's the thing. They're starting to get closer to justice. There's been bits and pieces coming out, very, very small bits and pieces coming out. But let's be real. Let's be real. Has any of it really taken anybody down yet? No, it hasn't. So again, still we're waiting for transparency. And here's the thing. It's not even for us. I mean, obviously, we are all nosy as hell, okay? We all want justice. We all want, as they said, truth and transparency. But in actuality, this is really for them. This is really for all the victims and the victims that are currently still surviving right now as we speak. People who are literally living through being a victim. You really think that Epstein, when he gone, okay? You really think that Epstein is the only person out here? Okay? Let's be real. This is not the only guy. You know for a fact this has gone on and on and on and on and on, okay? It does not stop. It does not stop. Somebody else picked up the torch. I guarantee you that is happening right now. It is just happening in more. They have found a way to cover these things up even more. So think about that for a second. You really think that Epstein stopped and then they just said, oh, okay, well, we can't do those things anymore, blah, 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 right? You really think that that's it? No, I guarantee you that there is somebody out there that is another Epstein 2.0. He's just better at covering it, or she could be better at covering this ish. There are crimes happening to littles all over the world, and it could be another Swamp Thing out there. You know, I'm calling Epstein Swamp Thing because he really is Swamp Thing. When Trump says drain the swamp, he is the king of the mother-loving swamp. Okay? Epstein is Swamp Thing. All right? So think about that. These are several decades. Well, not several, but many decades of these women waiting for some sort of justice being bestowed upon these bad boys, these bad people, these bad individuals, these higher ups, the possible 1% of the 1%ers that should have been handed justice a long ass time ago. And so I stand with these women. I stand with the likes of Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna and Marjorie Taylor Greene that are all standing together, and all the Democrats, the House Democrats that are literally sitting there going, release the files, and other Republicans that are stepping forward and actually saying, yeah, we should definitely release the files. Damn right. Release the mother-loving files and be done with it. and bring the justice that is rightfully deserved. Because you know what? The likes of Virginia Giuffre, she shouldn't have lost her life. She shouldn't be gone. She should have been believed in the first place. You know for a fact that if she really did what she did, which shows that she may have really did that, right? Which is really hard to hear. It's hard to think that right now, this timeline, and I think it's her energy as well, coming from the grave, okay? It's her spirit that's out here, that's trying to get truth out here. And I'm hoping that it still goes through. But here's the thing. She'd still be alive today if people actually listened. She'd be alive today. I guarantee you that. If this thing was nipped in the bud a long ass time ago, she would have been alive right now. Being a mother to her children, to her, being a mother, being a happy member of society. Just think about that for a second. She had to leave the country. You know what I'm saying? Because people are out here, devious individuals are out here that are going out of their way to send out threats. And there are thousands of other women that are getting threats right now as well. Not only just like Marjorie Taylor Greene is just getting a taste of what these women had to endure for the last several decades, collectively several decades. Think about that for a second, y'all. You know what's crazy is that when Virginia Giuffre's brother went up there and spoke, I instantly, I don't know, there was so much rage that started like building up in me, because I was sitting there thinking about like, what if this, like, if you are a brother, fellas, all right, to all my fellas out there, shoot, even my sisters out there, okay, that are brothers, to then they have sisters, and if this happened to your sister, wouldn't you go on that mic and start talking to? I mean, and somebody else, one of the survivors said this too. Close your eyes. Think about that sister, that auntie, the mother, whoever that is female that you love, niece, nephew, whatever. Think about them at that age, 14 years old. And if you think about that, doesn't that make you angry as all get out? That makes my blood boil. And now I'm seeing the brother go up there. And in my mind, I'm like, damn right, I wouldn't stop. There is no way. If I was in his shoes, there's no way I would pick up that baton. I would pick up that torch and keep running and never stop until truth and transparency is revealed, until there's justice. Because I would believe that my sister, if my sister was Virginia Giuffre, I would believe that everything that she said is the truth, and I would fight for that. If it even makes you angry for 2 seconds, then you're one of the good ones. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those that are going out of their way to send threats to individuals just because they want the truth to come out, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. Okay? And wrong. That's not how it should be. But here's the thing, okay? We got a couple things. I got a couple super chats here I'm going to get into and all that. And I urge you guys, I beg you guys, please make sure you hit that like button down below. I would love it if you are rocking with me in this whole thing. Please hit that like button down below. Send it all the way to, if we can get to 1K, that'll be fire. Because it helps get the message out there. It helps get the word out here. Your boy is sick as all get out. And I'm going to still be following all of this today. So you're going to be hearing this voice like this for the rest of the day. I'm sorry. Okay. I didn't expect to be sick this bad. Okay. But this cold is just kicking my butt. All right. But we are still keeping watch on all of this. We're not done yet. I got some super chats. We got some things to talk about. We're going to talk about a few things. Okay. But at the same time, and I'm still like waking up as well. So hopefully my voice will change over the course of the day. Okay. Definitely, drinking, getting my hot, coffee and tea and all that stuff. I'm doing everything I can. Okay, guys, but I digress. Yeah, I need rest, but you know, I'll rest when I'm dead, I guess. So hit that like button down below. All right, please and thank you. Hit that subscribe button. That would greatly be appreciated. Okay. Also, let me just say this. Okay, I do have a link to this GoFundMe. We're almost there. I'm very, very surprised. And I appreciate you guys. I mean, we've already surpassed the goal, but I do need, I'm sorry, it's the truth. Okay, I miscalculated what I needed, and there is one piece of equipment for this rig that I thought was a part of the package, and it's not. So it's like another $800, which is insane. So I'm just letting you know, I do still have the GoFundMe up there. We are literally $115 basically away from meeting that goal. Okay. So if you can, I understand we're all, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. But the GoFundMe link is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also in the description box down below. Basically, I need to get to 115 more bucks, which would be awesome if you can contribute. Okay, $1 would help. Anything, $2, $5, $50, $115, whatever you want to do, by all means, go ahead and do it. Okay, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay, just a quick reminder. Okay, and then once I hit that that number, we done. I'm not asking for I won't ask for nothing no more. Okay, but there's these modems that I thought were part of the package that is not a part of the package, which is like another $800 for crying out loud. So if you could help, that'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay, but moving on. We need as much transparency and justice for these individuals, for all of these survivors, for sure. It is, I think, absolutely insane what we are going on. Okay? That you have to go through all of this, right? That they have to jump through all these, bust through all these firewalls, if you will. They got to bust through all these firewalls just so that they can release these doggone files. Now, I just said earlier before we watched this press conference, okay? Oh, this is frustrating, guys. I'm sorry. This really, really, really burns my cookies. But I'm going to say this, okay? So Trump now is saying, we talked about this late the other night. He suddenly out of nowhere says, oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Release the files. Go ahead and release them files. Or not that. He said, go ahead and vote to release the files. House of Representatives, you Republicans, okay? All of you House Republicans, go ahead and just vote to release the files. It's fine. Go ahead and do your thing, right? Suddenly out of nowhere, which, by the way, he's been having absolute meltdowns leading up to that moment, right? He's refusing to release the files. He's putting threats on other people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? He is disavowing her. He is saying, I will disavow anyone that goes against me and how I think about all this stuff with this Epstein file stuff. It's all a hoax. It's the damn demis, right? It's a hoax by the Democrats, all that crap, right? And then out of nowhere, he says, oh, no. Oh, no. Go ahead, Go ahead and vote to release the files. Why would he say that when he can easily just go up and with a little quick flick of the wrist, sign anything, sign to pass the files, to release the files in general. He could literally go onto X and go, we are releasing the files. We don't need to go and jump through. The people don't need to jump through any of these hoops anymore. This thing doesn't need to go through the House and go to the Senate and then finally get to my desk. F it. I have the power to release them right now if I want to. Why wouldn't he do that instead of what he just recently said? Well, the reason why is because two different things. There's the theory that he is probably covering up and, they're going through some stuff. They're wiping everything clean. They're wiping everything that could be Republican. Any Republican name is getting wiped clean right now as we speak, right? That's the theory. But then there's the other theory that he's going to sit there and he's going to get ahead of it, right? By sitting there going, yeah, House representatives, go ahead, vote to release the files. And then remember, after it goes to the House, it's got to go to the Senate before anything gets released. So now it's going to be a situation of, go ahead, House Republicans, vote to have it revealed. Go ahead. Because he might have senators or a gang of senators in his back pocket. And then there's another firewall being thrown up that the House Senate will sit there and say, or sorry, not the House Senate, I'm sorry. The Senate will sit there and say, nah, we can't release the files. Then he'll sit there and go, well, I tried. See, don't you see? I said I was cool with it. I said, go ahead and vote. He is relying on red tape to be the thing that's going to slow this thing down. But the question is the Senate really going to side with Trump, meaning not release the files? Remember, just think about that for a second. Think about that. Put that bee in your bonnet for a hot minute. The whole day before he said, okay, House Republicans and the House, go ahead and vote to release the files. The whole day before, that before he put out that tweet, that Truth Social post, he was losing his mind, saying this is all a hoax, Democrat hoax. This is all fake news. I don't understand why everybody's so obsessed with this stuff, blah, 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 right? And then seconds later, he goes, hours later, really, he goes, go ahead and vote. Huh? Make that make sense, guys. Let's all use our brains for a minute here, guys. In fact, hold on, baby. Hold the F on. Hold on. Yeah.
Thanks so much for being here, Congresswoman. It's always good to have you.
Yeah.
So today, Speaker Johnson told CNN's Manu Raju.
Pausing for me, baby. And why aren't you playing? Oh, that's why. That's low. Okay. Let me just tell you something. So even Representative Jasmine Crockett, and here's the thing. I don't care how you feel about her. If you a fan or if you not a fan, okay? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, she said something that I think is a very, very strong point. Hold on. Let me try this instead. Let's try that. Okay. She said something here that I think is very, very interesting. And it all has to do with Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and how he's been dodging and doing all this crazy stuff. She says a few things here in this interview. Yes, I know it's CNN. Just get over it, okay? But she says some things in here that I think are very, very interesting. We need to take a listen to this. I'm telling you right now, she even says it herself, and I agree. She says, wait, it'll be the Senate that squashes everything. She says, yeah, sure. Representatives, House of Representatives will sit there and vote for it to be released. And everybody's going to be like, yes. Right? Hercules, yes. Right? You're going to be sitting there doing that, right? And we're all going to be like, yes, finally, some truth for the survivors. But it still has to get past the freaking Senate, y'all. Still got to get through the Senate. And the Senate could literally sit there and say, nah, bro. Nah, homie. Sorry. We're not releasing the files. So we shouldn't all be doing cartwheels as soon as they vote for it to be released this afternoon, which is inevitable. It's going to happen. They're going to vote to release the hounds. Okay. But at the same time, now, once those hounds are released, They're still fenced in. You see what I'm saying? Those files are still fenced in. The only people that could actually really release the hounds for everyone to see is the Senate. And the Senate could literally say, nah, bro. Now, Senate Democrats, yeah, they want it released. Yeah, Senate B. Okay, they do. But that doesn't mean anything. What about the Senate Republicans? You really think that they're going to, if they're not okay with this being released, you really think that they're going to vote to release the hounds? I doubt it. Okay? I doubt it. This is where the people and the ones like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey and Ro Khan, okay, they all need to start talking to those senators and say, all of them on their, on the Republican side, and say, I really need you guys to be on the side of releasing the information. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Let's take a listen to what Jasmine Crockett has to say. Representative Jasmine Crockett, which I think she's fantastic. I think she's very well spoken. Okay. But at the same time, she says a few things in here which I think are big deals.
Thanks so much for being here, Congresswoman. It's always good to have you.
Yeah.
So today, Speaker Johnson told CNN's Manu Raju that he never tried to kill the discharge petition to force this onto the floor, the Epstein bill onto the floor for a vote. But he shares President Trump's concerns about the bill. Take a listen.
We wanted to ensure that victims of these heinous crimes are completely protected from disclosure. Those who don't want their names to be out there. And I'm not sure the discharge does that, and that's part of the problem.
What's your response to that?
I would cuss, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna just say he's full of it. Number one,
this is cable. You can cuss.
I'm not gonna do it, but I am going to say that he is full of. Okay, I'm gonna do it. He's full of shit. Because here's the thing. Number one, we know that he didn't even bring the House back in because he was trying to avoid us dealing with Epstein. In fact, he would not even swear in a duly elected, now new member of Congress, depriving and having to be sued by her state and others because they literally did not have any representation. He violated the Constitution to avoid this. So miss me on pretending that this is about the victims. In addition to that, when we finally released some of the information that we got from the Epstein estate, and we had all the victims' names redacted, who was it that was out there saying, oh, and this person is the person that is supposedly mentioned in this section?
The Republicans,
The Republicans did that, to the extent that that victim's family had to come out against them for revealing potentially her name. So they're full of it. So right now, what I think is going to happen, the only reason that he is switched is because obviously he has had lots of conversations. Either the Senate is not going to take it up or they don't have the votes in the Senate. One of the two. But he never plans for this to actually go forward.
Oh, you think this?
You hear that, right? First and foremost, let me just say this, okay? She's got a point. Like I said, Trump is sitting there going, go ahead and vote for it to be released. Go ahead, House. Go ahead, representatives. Go ahead and do your thing. Feel like you're a hero for a second. Because once it gets past that, it's got to go into the Senate. And the Senate has to sit there and say, nah, or yay. But I'm telling you right now, she is concerned, just like I am. Because that firewall, like I said, they got to go through all this firewalls, right? The firewall with the Senate may not actually happen. Now, I want to make this abundantly clear. Yes, I know that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a senator, or Thomas Massey, or Ro Khan, okay? But this is the moment where they should be having conversations with their respective senators, okay? Especially those on the Republican side. There needs to be conversations with them to convince or to inspire them to actually vote yes on releasing the files. Because at the end of the day, House is going to pass it. Unless some random left turn happens, some surprise happens this afternoon, okay? But the journey for the truth coming out is not over yet. It has to get past the Senate. Once the Senate says something, then we are going to be, kind of smooth sailing. But we're still on rough waters, rough seas before then, until that actually happens. And I truly think that not only is he probably, maybe Trump is sliding some names in the documents right now, or scrubbing names in the documents right now. All right. He is also hoping and praying and has his fingers crossed, all fingers and toes crossed, for the Senate to say no to releasing the files. This is the reason why he's getting in front of it right now. He either thought about this and realized it, or somebody said, oh yeah, you just so you know, the procedure is House has to vote, then the Senate has to vote. So you can, you know what I mean? So you can, so you don't look like a butthole in the court of public opinion. You could literally say right now, Mr. President, to the House, go ahead and vote. Go ahead and vote. But it still has to get past the Senate as well. This is exactly what she's saying here. Oh, let's not forget, mother-loving Mike Johnson, you Keebler ass looking ass. Like I said before, I don't know how he's like the evil Keebler elf. Okay? I don't know how that happened, but that mother lover, how do you look old and young at the same damn time? I still want to know that too, but at the same time, all right, he's doing everything he can he was trying everything he could, even violating the Constitution, okay, to block this information from coming out, buying as much time as they could get. Why? Okay, why? And that is a question that I'd like to have answered as well. He's breaking laws, in my personal opinion. He should be seeing some sort of something legal, but nope. Why all this stuff? Why such a stranglehold on this whole situation? Okay. Now, again, very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff here. Okay. We're going to continue on. Okay. But at the end of the day, evil definitely is going on in this whole institution. There is something rotten in Denmark, but I think we've already been known that by now. If you're watching this show, you're already savvy to this, baby. Okay? You already been savvy to this situation. All right? But let's hear what else you got to say. But real talk, this is all BS. And yeah, Mike Johnson's full of ish. I agree, 110%.
This is going to get killed in the Senate.
I think that this is going to get killed some way, somehow. Or the other option is that I think they're going to do the very same thing, and not necessarily the same thing, but the very reason that the files could not be released before is because there were active cases that were taking place. All the cases have been concluded because this administration decided they didn't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. So they weren't going to investigate whatsoever. So now the files can be opened. But now he said, look into my enemies. I want you to investigate this hoax. Well, if there's open cases, then that is your excuse for legally not allowing those documents to be out.
Well, you're saying something that Republican Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, whose bill this is to force the Epstein files out, Trump has told the Justice Department to investigate prominent Democrats, including former President Bill Clinton, and their alleged ties to Jeffrey Epstein. That concerns Massie for the reason you said. Take a listen.
If they have ongoing investigations in certain areas, those documents can't be released. So this might be a big smokescreen, these investigations, to open a bunch of them as a last-ditch effort to prevent the release of the Epstein files.
Or it could just block the release of the ones having to do with Democrats and any other people that might be released. But either way, you share his concern.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that this is about all of a sudden he woke up on the right side of history, right? Like, I don't. He has consistently gone against his own base. He's told them on Truth Social, stop talking about this. They shut down the House in a time when Americans could not eat, all because they did not want to deal with the Epstein files. And he has called it a hoax. And now he's saying that, well, there's something to investigate. He is all over the place. The one thing that we know for sure is that he was sued not once, but at least twice by alleged child sex victims alongside Epstein. You tell me what other Democrat was named as a defendant alongside Epstein prior to all of this jazz ever happening. We're talking about 9 years ago.
Just to note that those cases never went anywhere.
They didn't go anywhere, but the allegations definitely were made, and they were made in coordination with someone that we know. After looking at the emails, Jeffrey Epstein, when he was charged in 2009, he said in those emails, I'm going to have to take the deal for the mandatory minimum of 10 years because I'm afraid I will get more time. After he got a sweetheart deal from Alex Acosta, he then ended up indicted again in 2019. So the one thing that I can tell you is while those civil cases may have gone away, we know for sure that Epstein himself admitted that he was a criminal. So just because the cases went away, it doesn't necessarily mean that the president has been absolved.
I want to ask.
That is very true. Hard facts. Sorry. But, hard facts. And here's the thing. We don't know everything yet. We don't have all the answers yet. But I think these are all very important. This is all very important pieces of information that needs to be revealed. If there's something that is being hidden, why not just get it out? Right? Clearly, let me just rephrase that. Clearly, something is being hidden. If you're going out of your way, jumping through as many hoops and trying to be slick out here, hiding as much information as you can hide. Let's keep it a bean, y'all. All right? Let's keep it a bean. Why go through all of this? Why jump through so many hoops trying to dodge as much as you can? Because clearly something is going on. Something is amiss. Something is amidst. That's what I meant. Okay? Something ain't right. Now, here's the thing. We'll see what happens here. Obviously, they're going to be voting today. And when that stuff does actually get released, I think this is going to be a very fascinating turnaround. It's going to be a fascinating reaction. Are we all here for it? I guarantee you we are all here for it. Okay? Truth and transparency needs to be revealed. But here's the thing. Trump could easily go up and release the files. He could literally just go up and go, yep, fine, F it. Release, fine. Release the files. He could literally do that. But he's not. Why? Think about that. Why do we have to go through all this red tape crap when he could literally just say, go and release them now? Pam Bondi, release all that stuff. People of the administration, release it. Just open it up. Put it all on the website. Let everybody see it all. Let the chips fall where they may. Let it happen. Nah. He's doing that because he's trying to be as his version of transparent, right? It's a fugazi, guys. It's a front. It's a lie. Because something else is going on here. And we're going to find out. But remember, House has to vote today. That's going to be happening this afternoon in the next couple of hours. We will be back to follow that and watch that. But then after that, it has to go up another tier to the Senate. And all the senators have to vote whether or not that information is going to go out, which, by the way, if the Senate does release it, I'm telling you right now, I'll be shocked. I'll be grateful, but I will also be very, very suspicious about those files. And as people and myself and everybody else goes through thousands upon thousands upon thousands of files, we might have to really side-eye the information that is revealed. No, and I'm saying it's going to even be even more nefarious, even more shocking as him doing the schloppy on the likes of a man named Bubba. I think there's going to be more and more names that are going to be revealed that are going to actually shake this planet. I truly think that there also is another reason why Trump does not want the information out here. And it's more than just him trying to cover his own booty. I think that there's bigger names, okay? There are bigger names, bigger entities that may be involved in this situation. We are already now hearing things about Epstein being connected to other higher entities, if you get what I'm saying. And that we're starting to connect. We're starting to see the dots being connected, okay, within the files and emails that we've already seen so far. But I have a feeling there's going to be more information, okay? That is going to rock us. And I think it's bigger than just the person who runs this country. I think it's going to be everything from the tippity top, all the way down to the administration, the foundation of what we see as this institution, of what we see as the government. I think we're going to see a lot of corruption if and only if these files are actually released. First, it got to go to the House. They're doing that today, and then it gets to the Senate. And we'll see what the Senate's really made of. But now is the time that people need to start putting pressure on their senators, on their other elected officials. Because again, I'm telling you right now, the Senate could literally squash this whole thing. The momentum could go dead on the floor of the Senate. Think about that. So we'll see what happens here, guys. But again, like I said, I'm going to be back on in a little while, but of course, I want to take a look at these super chats here. Okay, Immortal, thank you so much for being a member. Wow, for 56 months. Unbelievable. 20-ounce Mountain Dew and a packet of emergency for that cold, Pascal. Mountain Dew? Word? Okay. I'm not a Mountain Dew guy, but I'll look into it. I'm thinking hot toddies, hot teas, honey, little bit of rum or whiskey, some lemon tea, you know what I mean? I think I might be rocking that here in a little bit. But anyway, Rianne, thank you so much for the love. Hey, y'all, it's my birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. And thank you so much for just being so supporting this channel. Hopefully today is filled with wonderful things. Everything sweet, just like the cake I'm sure you're going to blow out a candle on. Okay? Hopefully today is awesome. All right? Happy as the birthdays. Corey, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I really do appreciate it. Welcome to the family, all 5 of you guys. Okay? And of course, Corey just gave you some love, which we really do appreciate over here. Please make sure you show some love by paying it forward. Open the door for somebody, okay? Make somebody soup if they're sick. You know what I'm saying? Do something nice. It's just the simplest little things, all right? Dear Yvette, thank you so much for the love. Justice soon come. Rest up, Miss V. Yes. May she rest in peace for sure. Okay. Justice, is it going to come? I don't know. Well, they're going to vote today, and that will be a step in the right direction. But again, like I said, we still got another firewall we got to get through, and that's very, very frustrating, right? So we'll see what happens and how that transpires. But again, thank you so much for the super chat. Linda, thank you so much for the love. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much, okay? From the other side of the world, I appreciate you. Mara, thank you so much for becoming a member. And just like Mara Lee, think about becoming a member by simply hitting that join button down below, okay? That would be greatly appreciated, all right? Michelle Woods, how you doing, sweetheart? Thank you so much for the love. If and when the Epstein files are released, and I'm hoping, I am going to manifest that they will be released, all right? The reason why I think that is because I think that I truly believe that we as people are good. I truly believe that we can really be good people. So I'm hoping that my theory is correct, but we'll see what happens, right? But if they are released, when they are released, would there be a statute of limitations for prosecution? These crimes happened over 30 years ago, at least. Yes, I don't think that there would be any. See, that's the thing. I don't know. That's a good question. These crimes, yes, happened 30 plus years ago for many. So the question is, those people that are still alive, let's not forget, those that are still alive, will they be prosecuted in any kind of way? I don't know. There might be prosecution in the court of public opinion, though. They might be ostracized, or let's just be real, canceled for the wrongdoings that they did, for the crimes that they committed to littles 30 plus years ago. Remember what Thomas Massey said, and many other people said during that press conference. He said there are names on buildings that should not have names on them, or should not have their names on those buildings. There are foundations, there are this, that, and the third that should not have their names on those things as part of their legacy. Their legacy should instantly be tarnished. Instantly be tarnished for the crimes that they did 30, 20 plus years ago. And I agree. So if there are higher ups, big names that are part of, like, huge foundations, organizations, or on names on buildings and whatnot, man, at least they should be destroyed. Their names be removed, right? But I think that the court of public opinion is going to go in and they're going to cancel all of them. This is the moment where I feel like cancel culture is okay. I think we agree on that, right? Cancel culture is more than okay when it comes to stuff like this. Period. Linda, again, thank you so much. Yes, read it. Everybody should. Fly in peace. Yes, Virginia Jufrey. Yes, I agree. Shoot, I may have to go and pick up the book later on today. Real talk, because I want to see it and read it for myself. You know what I mean? Kimberly in Japan, thank you so much for being a member for over 36 months. Wow. Thank you. And thank you so much. Bless you. And I'm going to try to get well. I'll try to get as much rest as I can. All right. But today's a big day. Today is a big day. And we're going to be watching this. We're going to keep an eye on this. Okay. And there's a lot going on. I got another video for you guys that I'm going to be doing here as soon as we get done with this live, because there's other people have been talking. Other people have been out here talking. And we got a lot to talk about today. All right. Grateful. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Hi, Pascal. Is it true that Trump has gone ahead and said to release the files? They must be doctored up. Maker's mark for that congestion. I might have to look into that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into that. I don't know if he said that. If he did, that would be news to me. And yes, Debbie, I think that would be the plan, right? To do some sort of read some excerpts from the actual book. Kind of like what we did with many other books that we've done. I think we did Britney Spears' book. We did Jada Pinkett Smith's book. So yeah, I may be reading some excerpts from the book. I still need to get my hands on the book first, right? First things first. But I might be doing that depending on time. You know what I mean? It's called time. Sit down, reading the book, finding those excerpts, putting that whole thing together. But I'll be looking into it. Okay. While I heal. Okay. But nonetheless, this is some very, very interesting stuff. Let me see if Trump said anything about releasing the files. Because if he did, I'd be very, very surprised. And then, man, it does not stop. It does not stop. Let me just make this abundantly clear. Okay. It doesn't stop, because even the president of Mexico is now issuing like warnings to Trump, because Trump is basically saying that he may be sending, might be striking. Okay. Might be striking Mexico. So again, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that's going on. Is it all there to throw us off? Right? Is it there just to throw us off as you know, as the Epstein files are becoming more and more prominent? I don't know. But what I do know is that there's a lot going on here, and I don't think, I mean, I would hope that he wouldn't just throw out a war with Mexico just for the sake of dodging this stuff. I think that would just be insane. Okay. But let me see. I don't see anything right now about Trump saying releasing the files. That's all. That would be news to, I think, a lot of us. Okay, just so you know. But once we get more information, I'll let you guys know if there's any updates.
Event. It was because
Epstein,
turning.
Whoops. Yeah, that's all. So far, I don't see any proof of that right now. Okay, respectfully, but I know that we're all wanting to see what's going on. If he was to sit there and say, release the files, I think we would all know this by now, right? We'd all be shocked. Okay. Sunshine, that's a show, that is a movie that I've been wanting to rewatch so badly, because of course what we're watching and seeing in real time right now, which is absolutely insane. In fact, it's crazy because just last night, I watched The Apprentice, not the show, the movie, The Apprentice. What's his name? The guy who plays what's his face? Sebastian Stan, right? He plays the Winter Soldier in the Marvel movies. He played Trump in this movie called The Apprentice, right? I think it's called The Apprentice. Yeah. Anyway, very interesting. Very interesting movie. Very interesting movie. Let's see. I'm just checking Truth. I don't have an account on Truth Social, okay? But hold on. That's old. Hold on. I mean, he's just been going on his Truth Social, just going off on people. That's what I'm seeing so far. I don't really see. So far, I don't see him say. I don't see anything of him saying we're going to release the files. And if he did do something like that, if that was actually the case, I'm telling you right now, that would make headlines. That would be instantly, everybody and their mama would be saying something right now. Everybody and their mama would be covering that right now. But I don't see that. Okay. So anyway, guys, I'm going to hop off here because I'm going to be back on in a couple hours here. Okay. Super May, thank you so much for the love. Colds helps to take long hot showers. Okay. Let water hit your forehead, face, gargle salt water before bed. Yes, thank you so much. Been doing all that. Trust and believe, been doing all that. This is just a hardcore cold. Okay. And it just happens when you're working as much as I do. You know, sometimes the cold just sneaks in and attacks, you know what I mean? Because it can. Hold on. Check it one more time. Nope. So far, we haven't seen anything. Nope. Haven't seen anything, guys. There's nothing out here saying that he is releasing the files at all. Okay. Trump said he would sign the bill to release the Epstein files. Okay. If it passes. Okay. If it reaches his desk, he said he will sign that. Let me show you this too, so you guys can see that. This is what he said as of last night. Okay. Trump says he would sign the bill to release the Epstein files if it reaches his desk. See what I'm saying? He's waiting for all the red tape. He's having them dodge through all the red tape. You know what I mean? Go through all the red tape crap and then finally get to his desk. He is literally trying to buy as much time as he can. Why? That's why I say when all the files officially come out, I'm telling you right now, just look at it with a side eye that mug, because something's going on. There might be something tainted in there. Or if you go, wait a second, why is it all Democrats in here? You might want to ask that question. Remember, sure, Epstein was a Democrat, but he was rocking with all kinds of Republicans too. Okay? He was bipartisan. His business was bipartisan. Okay? Had nothing to do with whether they were Democrat or not. All right? Something to think about. But let me get these here really quick. A polite, rude guy just said, Trump 2028, give him 4 more years. Yeah, that's a no. No, not after all this, but we'll see. We'll see. That Trump 2028 might just happen by force. I don't know, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon now. Grace, thank you so much for being a member and, of course, being a fantastic mod. Shout out to all the mods, by the way. Stop at pharmacy for Advil, cold sinus. Has to be one behind the pharmacy counter. Yes, I'll look into it, guys. I appreciate all that stuff. I got my methods as well here too. Okay, it's just that the stuff that I usually do to get rid of colds, it just ain't working. You know what I mean? So I'm just gonna have to pull out the reinforcements and try to go ham on trying to annihilate this cold. But that still isn't going to stop anything. We still got a lot going on. This is a very, very big day. This is a very historical day. Okay. Because again, we're getting a step closer towards getting justice. Okay. We're getting closer and closer and closer. So we're going to see what happens here. All right. Real talk. We're going to see what happens. But real quick, one last reminder. Okay. I do have this GoFundMe. Go check it out. All right. It is pinned to the top of the chat. I see a lot of y'all just gave some love, which I do really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. We are $75 away from reaching the goal that I need to get to. $75. Okay. If you can, like I said, a little goes a long way. $1, $2, $5, $75. Whatever you want to do, I'm $75 away from the goal that I'm trying to get to reach. So if you can, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also in the description box down below if you want to support. I will be back on in a few hours. I do have a pop-up video coming up to you guys here in just a little bit. So stay tuned because we got some coverage and things to talk about. But that is the show for today. Okay. I appreciate all y'all. I'll be back on in a couple hours, like I said, because we are going to be watching that voting. All right. Whether I feel good or not, it doesn't matter. We will be here watching all of that this afternoon, right around lunchtime. Okay. Hold on. Where's my mouse? Polite just said no redactions on the files, please. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see, polite, rude guy. We'll see. We'll see if you're right or wrong. We'll see. You know what I mean? But anyway, guys, make sure you hit that like button down below. Please and thank you. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. Make sure you follow me on those other platforms. Thank you. All right. Subscribe here on my main channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Go to my third channel, The Pascal Raw. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell on all these platforms, so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. All right. A lot of it's breaking news type stuff. So make sure you do that. Okay. Please and thank you. Hit that join button down below. Check out my Patreon. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Also, make sure just check out the GoFundMe. If you can help me get to that $2,800 mark, that would be the bomb. Okay. So anyway, it is time to get going. I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.